If you've got a question, the voices of resin are here. Oh, PlastChicks.
PlastChicks is an SPE sponsored podcast.
Hi.
Hello again.
We're back.
Here we are with another wonderful face of the plastics and polymer industry.
We're on ANTEC 2022 live interview season.
Live interview season. Well, it's like 2 days, yeah.
It counts as a season. If it's more than 10 minutes, it's a season in my life. So I'm Lynzie Nebel.
I am Mercedes Landazuri.
And I'm Amanda Nicholson.
Hey! And with our powers combined, we are PlastChicks, the Voices of Resin.
That's us. We're here. And we're here, like I said, doing our live show, ANTEC 2022. You can listen to us anywhere you get your podcasts.
Apple,
the podcast
Spotify,
places.
Stitcher, Google Podcasts.
If you don't know where to get podcasts, you're probably not listening to us because that feels like you don't know where to find a podcast.
Yeah, maybe you can also find us on SPE's YouTube channel, or you can go directly to the website for spe.org/podcasts. There's also, we're not the only podcast on there anymore. There is also the DEI podcast.
Whole new one.
Beyond Plastics.
And then, if you want to find us on social media, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, eventually maybe TikTok. So yeah. But today we have a super cool guest. Amanda Nicholson is a senior project engineer at the Madison Group, days into her brand new job. 3 days. So if she has anything to say, please don't hold it against her in 3 years.
Her boss was here, so her boss is watching.
Her boss is here. All right, we'll keep it G-rated then. Okay. All right, so welcome. First, tell us a little bit about your background, and then tell us about the Madison Group.
Okay. I have a degree in chemical engineering from the University of Akron. Right out of school.
Love for Akron.
Yes,
love
of
it.
course,
Always
goes
love
there.
for
Where the
Akron.
rubber meets the road.
Yep. Went to Parker Hannifin. I worked in sales there, selling hydraulic hoses and such. Wasn't technical enough. So I ended up at the Polymers Center of Excellence, which is awesome. It's just on the road from here. It's in Charlotte, North Carolina. Check them out. And ended up at Moldex 3D running a little bit of simulation. It was a great time there, but now I'm at the Madison Group and absolutely thrilled to be here.
And 3 days in, what is the best part about the job?
This moment right
This
here.
moment.
Absolutely, yeah.
So tell us, what does the Madison Group do? Because, I mean, I heard it was very cleverly named. It was 3 guys who started it in Madison.
Yeah, so they are based in Madison, Wisconsin, and they do plastics consulting. They're a global leader in plastics consulting. They do a lot of failure analysis, work with design evaluations, not like design itself, but just evaluations of existing designs, and material evaluation. Any sort of plastic problem, we're up for the challenge.
I did recently see one of your colleagues who's been there more than 3 days, and he did a presentation. You guys have a lot of fun stuff there. You guys got a lot of cool toys.
Yes.
And you guys are going to start to do some QUV or xenon arc testing, weathering testing. Yeah, it's a good color in there.
So tell us, what's your piece of the puzzle? Because I don't think you're allowed to do all the toys, all the cool...
Not just yet, maybe someday. But no, what I'm going to start out with is I'm joining the Manufacturing and Product Development Group, and I'm going to be starting out with a lot of mold flow simulations, basically helping people go from a design that they've got in mind, turning that into a manufacturable part.
So what kind of stuff do people come to you with? Would they just be like, here's a part design, what do you think about it? Or are people approaching you further down in the design process where they're saying like, we have this mold, what do we need to do? When do they come talk to you?
Yeah. Well, it is a consulting business, so I would say all of the above. You're probably going to get a little bit of everything. But yeah, anything from an inventor who has an idea that's great and they don't have a plastics background to companies who've got an existing mold and they're having problems with it. They're getting recalled, like parts failures, that sort of thing.
Always bad.
Yeah. Yeah, so just troubleshooting plastics problems, helping people make robust parts that are profitable.
So when you were at the Polymer Center of Excellence, you trained non-plastic engineers, right? So what was the biggest misconception about plastics or misunderstanding?
So I had a really unique group of people. I would get people who were maybe running a press for 20 years but have never been formally trained. And then they'd be in the room with people who were degreed engineers, but maybe they were mechanical engineers coming over from metals. So they...
That metal and plastic ain't the same.
Yeah, exactly. So the biggest hurdle was always conveying what plastics are, like how they behave, because they have fountain flow. There's no turbulence. They're non-Newtonian. They have compressibility.
I love all this.
Fountain flow? I'm not familiar with fountain flow. What is that?
So,
Well, right. But like, besides what I'm thinking of, I can't imagine that that's happening on a production floor ever. What is fountain flow?
yeah, just the way the plastic actually flows.
It's
flows in layers.
okay. All right, I see it now. I see it. Okay, got it.
If you stop over at I'll do the plug for the Beaumont guys. I'm pretty sure all their PowerPoints have fountain flow in them because that was one of my jobs as an intern is to like do all those not make the graphics, just literally copy and paste them.
Okay.
So you're doing a lot of the simulation stuff, not to skip around, but that's my life. How many times do you think people underestimate the importance of simulation? Because I know there's a lot of stuff that like smaller shops either think they don't have the time for or don't have the money for and think like it's gonna be fine. Because if you're making like a dog toy, you're probably fine.
Yeah.
But how many times do you see people kind of like get bit by that kind of stuff?
Well, I can't give you a certain percentage or anything like that, but I will
I
say,
want numbers.
Yeah. When I came out of school, all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, I thought that everyone in this industry knew exactly how to injection mold everything. They had it all figured out.
100%.
You know,
That
and
was a fun discovery, wasn't that?
And I thought like everyone does simulations, and then I found out very quickly that people have budgets, and they have a limit to how much staff. So if you want to do simulation, you either have to buy a very expensive seat of the software and then hire someone to run it, or do one-off, simulations with consulting groups, and that can really add up. But what I will say is it really does pay for itself, much like getting home inspections before you buy a house. You want to know where all those problems are.
I didn't do that either.
I did, and I actually got out of a house it had black mold, it had a crumbling foundation, and it had a retaining wall that was like about to fall over.
That's the new simulation tagline.
Well, that brings
you will have black mold in your house if you don't get this.
That brings us full circle then, because in my mind I had made a joke earlier about like what do we do about this mold problem. But now I'm going to use that joke.
Okay, I like
so
it.
They're better when
we'll
they're
workshop
explained.
it. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Because I know I've seen a lot of times like people will skip it or say like, oh, well, we'll get it run while we're building the mold, because obviously the mold build time takes a good chunk of time. And I've seen a lot of people try and like do them back to back, and it's like, they'll match up. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to know where your gate location is going to be, what your runner layout is going to look like, and all that before, and also where your weld line is going to be. Are you even going to be able to fill out the part? Is the wall too thin? Right. You got to know these things before you build the mold, because that's a huge investment.
And what's the importance of having someone that's so well trained in it?
Yeah.
I mean, because I've seen people like, I can run moldflow, I can run Moldex, and you're like, do you?
Can you though?
Can you?
Can you though?
I would say, garbage in, garbage out. If you know how your material is going to process, if you know your melt temperature, where your gate's going to be, what your runner system's going to look like, you can get a good idea of what the final part is going to look like. If you don't have that information and you're just making assumptions, or even if you have some good information but you don't know how to interpret the results, you're going to have a bad time with that. So you do need someone with a plastics background who understands what the mold is actually going to look like to do the mold flow.
I do love weird interpretation of results. That is one of my favorite things.
Yeah. So just like the pretty colors,
Well, that's So speaking of strong plastics background, which you clearly have, and seeing that we are PlastChicks here, all three of us, we do have men on the show as well, but do you ever feel like you've had to prove credibility, specifically because you're a woman, or?
And you're doing a lot of, I feel like you're in a lot of position of like educating people.
Right.
And I feel like
Yeah.
as a woman, sometimes you might have to overcome that a lot more than maybe a male colleague may have to.
Yes, I mean that does play into it. And another,
Or has that never happened to you?
Never once.
Or because you're also
Because I'm
younger.
also young.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of a huge hurdle when I first started training, because not only was I the only woman in the room who was like a head shorter than everyone else.
At least.
But also I was the youngest person in the room by a long shot. So in order to kind of establish credibility, I'd really have to show them that I can do, what I'm actually teaching. So at the Polymers Center, I was really lucky in that there was a whole molding lab there. So I could literally take them into the lab and show them, like, this is how I run the machine. And sure, I had to carry around a little step stool so I could get up and reach everything.
Do you climb up there in your Xenas? Do you have Xenas yet?
No, I don't have
Little
Xenas.
plug, but
We gotta
Xena workwear steel toes. They're amazing.
We'll get your
okay.
we'll get your
Very
steel toes
fashionable.
going.
I've got steel toes, but they're not fashionable. I call them my clown
These
shoes.
ones are good.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see how that would be like a big issue with,
Yeah.
sometimes I know I throw out certain names of people I've worked for to prove my credibility, even though, as I've stated before, it doesn't change what I know,
Yeah.
but in their mind somehow it does, which is frustrating.
Well,
That's
any
it.
new person coming into the industry, you don't know what their background is. You just
Right.
know that it's short. So is it good? Is it bad? What is it? And that's true with anyone. I've met people who've worked in the industry for 20 years, but it kind of seems like it was the same year repeated 20 times. So I definitely.
I love repeating things. Ooh, give us names. Give us names.
No.
Never.
Okay, once this is off. So, there's a lot of camaraderie that can be built with women in the industry. Tell us a little bit about Ladies of Moldex 3D.
Your most recent employer when you and I met.
Yeah. So, with Moldex 3D, they actually have the largest group of women that I've ever worked with, and I found that to be a really interesting experience because, most of the places I've worked have all been very male-dominated, so I've never really been in a large group of women in a professional space ever. So what I thought was, like, wouldn't it be interesting if we all had a space where we could just talk together and just share our ideas really without anyone else there and just see what happens. And I was absolutely blown away. First thing we did is started talking about our career goals. Where do we want to grow? What problems are we having and how do we solve them? Because we've got some people who've been there just a little while and some people have been there for years,
Right.
So have they seen that same problem? Can they kind of walk them through it? And then beyond that, what I found really fascinating is, normally in companies you'll have certain little silos that people work in. Like
Right.
I worked in the engineering group, so I talked to engineers all day long. But then they asked me to make YouTube videos. And so in that group of women, there was one in Taiwan who works in marketing, and she had some really great ideas on what makes a good YouTube video.
Really?
So she sent me ideas from other industries that had, music and humor incorporated and really great intros and outros and a good call to action included and everything.
I
And
love it.
Perfect.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know any of this stuff. So
So now you need to transition into making TikToks for us.
now I do
Done.
have a flip phone, so I'm not the
What?
Yeah.
Wait, I'm just registering because I saw it in your
Yeah,
hands and
yeah.
it's just registering now.
Yeah.
I did
Not
not
a
see that.
technology gal.
But
I know.
But also
That's the face I
a
use for-
technology gal.
I'm a technology gal when it comes to work. I understand the benefits, but I don't like to be kind of tied to the internet all the time.
right on.
I need the internet at all times.
So yeah, I mean, and I do have a tablet. It has Wi-Fi, but I really don't use it
I feel a little
much.
bit better.
Yeah, I
But
use
still.
it for GPS all the time because I have no sense of direction.
Same.
Yeah,
I feel like that's definitely a woman thing.
So what? Tell us more about these videos. What were they? What you were educating the younger workforce, or what were the videos involving?
Well, it started out just kind of as a sales tool, but then I started looking into the statistics of who's actually watching it, and I found that everyone was 25 to 35 years old. No one was really outside of that.
Really?
And so I was kind of blown away by that because most of my customers are not in that age group.
Right,
So it's
and they're out of college, so they're not trying to like use it to.
So it's like, who's watching our videos? But I think it's a really interesting tool to use to kind of bring up young engineers to our level.
Right.
Because a lot of young engineers, they're going to the internet to learn how to do things. And I mean, I do the same thing. I use YouTube for everything from like learning how to do makeup to learning how to change my headlights. I learned it all on YouTube.
I have just started trying to garden and not kill things, and I have used TikTok exclusively for it because
all her windows are north facing. Like that's it. Like all of her windows are north facing. It's
I don't even know. It's all dead. But yeah, you know, I think that speaks a lot to like what the industry is dealing with or should be dealing with. That's not necessarily being dealt with. Like I think a lot of people are looking for 101, 201 type stuff, and there's not a lot out there. You know, we were talking about training programs earlier, and there are training programs, but it's like it's almost too high of a level for some people for what they need.
Yeah, or barriers to entry with it, right?
Right.
I mean, I feel really fortunate. I met you and Laura Myers, other people here in the room, where it's like I could, coming into the industry as a new person and having questions that I felt like were stupid, since we were friends, I could text you and you answered them. But if I didn't know you, right? If I didn't have the connections I made through SPE, which is another thing we need to talk about, how we met. But you know, it's so we need to build other avenues to push out knowledge to people who can't necessarily attend a specific event or a class or something.
And especially being YouTube, like I make short videos. So far, that's what I've done, but I'm sure I'll branch out. But really short videos enable you to learn on your own schedule and just what you want. Not a whole, you know, seminar on something, but just the information you're looking for, which is incredibly helpful.
So how short are we talking?
I was normally making somewhere in the ballpark of 5-minute videos, which I think is a good.
I think that's perfect because, you know, as like me, I would, if I wanted to learn something, I only have a few minutes.
Right.
If I can't do it, if you say it's a 30-minute thing, I
don't have 30 minutes.
And even if you tell me exactly where in the video, I'm never going to remember.
Your cat has pushed over your coffee. Your child is
are on fire,
jumping on to the from the couch to the
know,
wall.
ambulance
I used
is there.
to do somersaults down my dad's recliner.
So you get it.
We're all gymnasts here. We're all gymnasts here.
So, you know, we're kind of talking about that younger age bracket, you know, and a lot of what the buzzy word seems to be is sustainability. I know you have some passion about that. Can you tell us about any projects you're doing?
Yeah, so I feel like everyone's really interested in sustainability right now, but all I'm hearing is, you know, compostable materials, recycling, like the same things over and over again. And what I'm more interested in is finding ways where we can sort of you know, not only make things more sustainable, but also help companies' bottom lines. Unless it's profitable, it's not going to happen. So things like making parts to where they can nest inside of each other, you can fit more of them in a truck. That's why you're reducing your transportation cost and the environmental footprint of transportation. Trying to make things in a modular way, so instead of every time you get rid of your cell phone, you just throw your cell phone away, right? But what if you could replace the battery, replace the screen, replace the processor and the camera, instead of replacing the whole thing? And I mean, think of all parts that way, as opposed to just, you know, just technology or just, you know.
Or even just having the same charger.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I have so many chargers.
So I'm not 36 chargers deep going, why do none of them fit this one?
Yes.
I only have one device fully charged at any time. That's it.
That makes sense to me. And so you know, we kind of hinted at the fact that, you know, we've met you through different aspects of SPE. You serve on a couple boards. Tell us about the boards you serve on and kind of what they do.
And how you got involved and why.
And who made
you? So my boss at the Polymers Center suggested that I join the injection molding division. And so I reached out to Eric Foltz, who was my new boss as of 3 days ago. So that's very fun.
Very cool.
So yeah, I've been on the injection molding division. I just started like right at the beginning of COVID, so I kind of hit.
So great timing.
Yeah, exactly.
No bad things. Been very forward
Lots of
thinking.
in-person stuff.
Yeah. But I actually was lucky enough to meet some of the people on that board here this week, which was amazing for the first time. So it's really good to have that human connection. But yeah,
I was like, who?
Is Dave Wakonski here? Who's over there? Adam Kremschister. Where are all these? I don't see anybody.
We got a couple.
But yeah, did the Sustainability Rocks virtual event. I was a part of that, and we've got the in-person one, I believe, coming up. And then also part of the recycling division, which I'm very new to, but excited to sort of help with that newsletter and see what else I can do.
I feel like the recycling division is always trying to steal injection molding people, so now I'm starting to poach recycling people.
Oh yeah? Oh, you're coming for me?
Coming for you.
Coming for me?
Listen, I've already threatened to fight on the last episode. I'll do it again.
I don't know if I
Yeah,
told
let
you.
me back up first.
That's fair.
I mean, I don't know if I told you this, but Glenn Beal, a mentor of mine, mentor of many people in the industry here. When I joined SPE Chicago board, he said, when he got involved, his mentor told him, get involved in the newsletter because people are going to see your name every month, and it's a great way to meet people. And you learn, people will talk with you and share information, and people will get used to seeing your name.
I still don't want to do it.
You're gonna be famous. You're gonna be famous.
You can be famous. They'll be like, that Amanda.
I'm already a little bit internet famous on LinkedIn, I feel like. Everyone seems to know me from there,
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, I feel like LinkedIn
Amanda
is just Amanda N, as we just discovered.
Thanks to your internet.
Yeah, I don't know how we were a second connection, but
I don't know.
we should have been connected.
All right, well, we're going to have you on a future episode, so that way you can tell us which division is better.
She's probably going to have joined 3 more boards by then, and we're going
Probably.
to be behind her.
I know. But we can fight those people then. We can team up.
Yes, we can.
It'll be fine.
Yes, we can.
Fight smarter, not harder.
Exactly. You get it. All right. Well, Amanda, this has been awesome. You are such a cool person with such a cool background, and we're so excited to be LinkedIn friends because, is it friends? Is that what
Connections.
Connections.
We're only connections. We're not
Connections.
friends. Yeah, sorry.
Or we can be Instagram friends, right? Or YouTube friends? No, I don't know. Where
TikTok
just
friends.
follow
Where do I make friends?
I think we got to go back to
In
Facebook.
this day and age, how do I make a friend? I don't know.
I've forgotten.
That's
It's
a
been a couple
different
years
episode.
of like being locked in the house.
I just walk towards them with a beer.
Where can we find your YouTube videos?
Well, the only ones I've done so far have been on Moldex 3D's Northern America channel, so you can find about 10 of my videos there.
Nice.
But future videos will be on the Madison Group's YouTube channel.
All right, we'll be
Perfect.
looking out
Start
for
stalking
it.
both of them.
And if you publish any before we release this interview, which is going to be August.
Okay.
Something like August.
Possible.
Then let us know. We'll put it in the show notes.
Awesome.
Show notes. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.